In my opinion, one of the most powerful features of completable futures is the ability to start two tasks asynchronously and then combine the results. For example, let's say we call a remote service to get the price of a product, and that service returns the price in US dollars. So we get 20 US dollars. Now, at the same time, in parallel, we want to call another service to get the exchange rate between US dollars and euros. So that service is going to return 0.9. Now, we don't want to call the second service upon completion of the first task. We want to start these tasks concurrently and then wait for both of them to complete in order to calculate the result. So let me show you how to do this. First, we want to create a completable future to return the price of a product. So completable future.supply async. And here we return 20. That is our first task. Now, in our second task, we're going to call another service to get the exchange rate between US dollars and euros. So one more time, completable future.supply async. Here we return 0.9. This is our second task. Now we call first dot, then combine. With this, we can combine the result of two asynchronous operations. So we can wait for both of them to complete to calculate the final result. But here's the interesting part. Calling this method is not going to block the current thread. We're basically building a processing pipeline. We're building a recipe. We're telling the executive framework, hey, go ahead and start these two tasks concurrently. When they're both complete, start a new task to do something else. All of this is happening asynchronously, okay? So look at the signature of this method. Here we have two parameters. The first parameter is a completion stage object. That is our second task. So let's pass that over here. Now, the second parameter is a by function. That is a function with two parameters that returns a value. Look at the type of these parameters. The first parameter is an integer. The second is a double. So these parameters represent the results of our tasks. So the first task returns a price in US dollars, and the second task returns the exchange rate. Exchange rate. So this is our by function. Now we get these two values, and based on these, we're going to calculate a new value. So here we can return price times exchange rate. Okay? Now, this method, then combine, is going to return a new completable future. So after that, we can call then accept. Here we get the result and print it. Now, let's reformat our code. That is better. So run. So the price is $18. Now let's make this example more interesting. Let's imagine that the first task returns the price as a string, 20 US dollars. Now we have a compilation error because we cannot multiply a string by a number. So in our first task, we should transform the result. So right after calling the supply async method, we call then apply. Here we should pass a function that takes a string and returns a new value. In this case, an integer. So I'm going to reformat this code. First we call supply async and then apply. So here we get a string. Now we call str.replace. I'm going to replace US dollars with an empty string. We could also use regular expressions. It doesn't really matter. This is a very basic transformation. So we get that. That gives us the price. Now we call integer.parseInt and pass the price. And finally return the result. So here's our first task. Then we have our second task. We combine them and wait for both of them to complete before displaying the result. Now all of this is happening asynchronously. So none of this code is going to block the current thread.